That's right. It's the morning show right here on KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, and Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live as well. We are happy to have each and every one of you with us on today's show. We're going to be talking a little bit later, actually just around the corner with Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest. Remember those? Yes, Reader's Digest. 50 nicest places is one of the main topics among many different topics in this issue of the Reader's Digest. Yes, we'll also be talking about this in particular, news from the world of medicine. News from the world of medicine. So what's going on in the world? We want to know about that. Of course, we got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
And so how was your weekend? What did you do? Did you have fun? Did you relax? What's going on?
It was a fun week. It was a nice, relaxing weekend. Sunday I always spend the day with my girlfriend. We just watch movies, kick back, relax.
Okay. Well, speaking of kickback, I'm going to be honest here for a minute because I literally have only a minute. I almost didn't show up to work today, but I did nonetheless, right? Because today a lot of people taking off, right? Some because they get paid for it. We don't. So, but here's the thing. So we went to a day spa. You ever been to a Korean day spa?
No, I have not.
You and your lady need to go. I'm going to give you. I can't give it out to everybody out there. And those that figure out my place, you'll understand why. Because you don't want, when you're relaxing and you just want to let your hair down, quite literally, no makeup, nothing. Not that I wear makeup, but for the ladies. There's a place in downtown LA, which is We Spa. That's not my place. So you go there, it's similar, but it's not the same. But my point is, it's not bad. We'll talk about that and more right after these messages right here of The Morning Show. Stay tuned. All right, so there we go. We're on a commercial break here, and yeah, you ever have one of those days where you're almost like, I want to say I can't make it, only because I'm so relaxed and so tired, and I just want to sleep in. You ever have those days, Jesse?
I have those days, but when I started working here, I had to kick them out of the thing and get it done.
Yeah, well said, well said. I've so, and again, that's why I tried it. I let me see, have I ever done that just because I wanted to? No, because I feel bad. Number one, I know you're working it, right? So I'm like, oh, he can't be working it too, and me bail on him. But I was so on the verge yesterday because there's this place. It's a 24-hour spa, so you get to you can stay there overnight and then head out in the morning, right? So I was like, okay, well, maybe I could do it, maybe I can't. I don't know. So we took Brenda's sister. And she just loved it. It was her first time at this Korean day spa. And anybody that is a Korean knows this is the thing to do. So it's great. You go for the whole day. They have these I want to call them saunas, but they're not. They're steam rooms, right? There's one with salt, Himalayan salt surrounds you, and it's just good to get in there and get your body acclimated to it. Then they have a cold room, so you go hot to cold. It actually feels really good. And then they have massage services. They've got pedicures, manicures. They got the whole thing, and it's just this place where you lounge out. They give you shorts, shirt. I remember my first experience. I was in heaven. I was like, this actually exists. I always heard about these. But there you go. So if you are thinking, Jesse, where am I going to take my lady? That's a little different. If I can recommend this, again, I will give you the 411, but I promised myself I would not give anybody else that because you want to be you're at relaxed, and then all of a sudden you see everybody that there, and you're like, you just want to chill, you just and seriously, people just fall asleep on the floor pretty much because they have these mats. It sounds a little crazy now, right? But
Comfortable.
It is. You just and nobody's the wiser. You're like, it's okay. You hear that person snoring over there? They're relaxed. It's like Relaxville. They should call it.
We got 10 seconds.
Relaxville. So it's kind of hard to come back from that. We almost stayed the night, and we didn't though. But here we are. All right. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, all social media platforms that have video, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live. Got lots to talk about today. Yes, a little bit later on around the corner, we're going to be having our special guest, Jeremy Greenfield. He's the senior editor over there at Reader's Digest. The November issue is out, and what's going on over there? Well, we're going to be talking about one of just many subjects. They've got a couple there like this one. I like this one, Jesse. How to sound smarter, trying to impress the kids, the boss, a date, your family during the holidays. Some things you could talk about. I like that nice little topics in there. And I'm going to admit with you, Jesse, I as a youngin, I had a hard time speaking to people. I was very shy. I'm actually very shy by nature, but I have to push myself to be very social, right? And I always thought as a kid, and I remember 8 or 10 years old, I thought to myself, and I remember asking people around me, how do you talk to people? And one goes, well, you could ask about the weather. And I'm like, okay, but that was very limiting. I'm like, okay, what do you ask after the weather, right? I didn't know how to talk to people at around 8, 9, 10 years old. So I asked people, but if I would have known Reader's Digest actually helps you out like that, how to sound smarter, I would be on this issue. Although I don't think they talked about this back then. What were you pretty good as a conversationalist as a kid?
I'm gonna have to say negative, unless we were talking about something I was truly into.
Yeah.
It was really difficult. 'Cause even with family, I have trouble, communicating with them unless it's like a topic that I really into.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, we've got a lot to talk about now. So that's just one of the subjects, right? Other people are like, well, I thought Reader's Digest had so much more. They do. Like this one, Live Long and Prosper. That's a subject over there. Then there's this one, 5 Easy Memory Boosters. That's pretty cool. But we're going to be talking just around the corner. Oh, actually, and they have a 10-minute cancer test where Australians have developed a test that can detect cancer cells in 10 minutes with 90% accuracy. All of that is in this episode of the morning show. That's right. It's the November issue of the Reader's Digest. Joining us right now is senior editor over there, Jeremy Greenfield. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no. Thank you for joining us. Look, Jeremy, I understand that the issue, first of all, congratulations. Reader's Digest is, I believe, almost 100 years old. I believe this started back in 1922. You guys have done a great success over there. Talk to me about November's issue.
Yeah, the November issue is a really special issue for us. I know we're going to talk about news from around the world of medicine, which is one of our very long-running features. We've been known for giving you great health coverage for nearly 100 years, just like you said. We told you to stop smoking in the 50s and 60s. We told everyone to wear their seatbelts before anybody else was. So this is a big part of our history. But the November issue this year is really special for us as well because it's our nicest places in America issue. And we scoured the country. We got over 1,000 nominations from people in every state, and we named the nicest place in every single state, a place where people are kind and treat each other with dignity and respect and civility. And we even named a nicest place in America, and that's all in the November issue.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, because I'm used to so many travel stuff which talk about beautiful places, but they rarely talk about the neighborhood. How was this based? Did somebody go there and go, you know what, I base this on a 10, and then there's other places I don't know, Santa Monica, which are I'll say an 8 if you're living there, but if you're not, it's kind of depending who you run in. There's some crazy people out there.
Yeah, so that's a great question because, it's really hard to rank niceness. You look at all these other lists of travel lists and neighborhood lists, and they do all this fancy math with algorithms about how many, cafes there are and what the public schools are like or whatever, and that's not really what we're about. We wanted to tell stories of places where people are kind, and we wanted to do this all over the country with our mission of inspiring people to be nicer to each other. So when you look at the November issue this year, you see our nicest place in America, which is Columbiana, Ohio. We didn't choose it because it's objectively nicer than other places. There's no ranking of who's nicer than whoever else. That's really against the spirit of it. We chose it because it's a really good story that really makes you feel something, and hopefully will inspire other people around the country to do similar kind things. What they find is what we found there, and what we found in 50 places all over America.
Yeah, I just that show where it's like, what would you do? I like a different show, which is like like a test to prove how nice the people are there, right? I don't know, because there's so many cruel people. I'm just saying it would be kind of interesting. All right, but switching gears up, look, you got a lot of subjects in this this month's digest. Can you talk about a couple of the others before we hit the biggest one, in my opinion, from the world of medicine?
Yeah, so, Reader's Digest, another thing that we're always helping with is helping people find sensible solutions to really common problems. And one of the things that we focused on this month is something that I think everybody has problems with. I know I do, which is boosting your memory. This is something that's so incredibly common for people, and we have a couple of pages in this month's issue on really easy tricks that anybody can try to boost their memory. I'm happy to go through some of them if you want.
Yeah, please do, because we can always use that, right, Jesse? I know Jesse and I were like, wait, what? He has a better memory than I do. I'm not sure if it's age or he doodles more, which happens to be one of the tips.
Yeah, doodling is one of the tips. If you're in a sort of a meeting or with someone and you see them start to pick up the pen and just kind of doodle on their pad, don't be offended, because for a lot of people, it helps them remember things better. And if you're someone who has trouble with memory like I do, it's something you should definitely try. But here's a really easy one. Exercise. Now, I know people are going to say, well, that's not that easy. It sounds easy, but then dragging yourself to the gym 3 times a week is hard.
Right.
No, it's so much simpler. Exercise just once. You get that blood pumping for 20 minutes or so, when whatever you encounter later in the day, you're going to have a much easier time remembering. And it's a crazy trick, but it totally works.
That actually makes sense. Okay, there's one that I saw on this list. I've never seen this, by the way, and I'm not sure I'd recommend this for everybody, at least not while on their phone, but walking backwards. What's that mean?
That one is so crazy. And when we were working on this issue, and I saw that, I was like, what? Can that be real? And I don't know what the mechanism is. I mean, I'm not a neuroscientist.
Right.
But if you are having trouble remembering something, a lot of people pace around when they're trying to remember. Maybe it takes their mind off of, thinking about it exactly. But if you walk backwards, it's almost like enhancing that technique, and it can sometimes help you remember something you've forgotten.
Well, one of our social media comments from Dino says, I'm a doodleologist. So I love it. I mean, good. Get your memory up and running. Now, let's talk about some of the news from the world of medicine. I thought some of this was very interesting. And by the way, another social media comment from, let's see, Dino also says, it's a good, unbiased magazine. Reader's Digest has a really good finger on the pulse of things, and I didn't even think about that. It is truly unbiased, which is hard to get nowadays.
Yeah, we're not a political magazine. We see ourselves as a sort of a general interest magazine, a cultural magazine, a place where you go for some family humor, some stories that make you feel good, and nicest places in America, which I mentioned earlier, is our putting a flag in the ground around some of these cultural ideas that we think that regardless of where you are in the political spectrum, all Americans can get behind. Being kind, treating your neighbors like friends, treating strangers well, and that's what Nicest Places is about. So that's as close as we ever get to politics. We're more about American values.
Yeah, and speaking of unbiased, I really like and appreciate this particular section of the world of medicine from news. There was something that was interesting about 200 medications that, can you share that with us?
Yeah, so we love these kinds of studies because they're big, wide studies, and the results are something you can actually use. So there are about 200 commonly taken medications. Maybe you take some of them, like something like Xanax for anxiety, or some anti-heartburn and acid reflux medications sometimes cause. Some of the side effects can include depression. So you have one problem, and maybe it can cause another in some people who take it. And this study that was conducted by Columbia University found that more than a third of people who were taking at least one of these drugs were experiencing this side effect of depression. And they didn't necessarily establish that that's why they were being more depressed. But what you can do about this is, if you are one of the many millions of Americans who suffers from depression, you might want to go to your doctor and say, hey, is one of the medications that I'm on maybe helping contribute to this? And so this is a really good piece of information, because it's something you can do with it right away if you're one of the people who suffers from depression.
Well, and I grew up around a family that took a lot of medication. My father suffered from still suffers from schizophrenia. My mom, my stepdad, I should say, and my mom, she had a host of other things as well. And it always came down to what were the side effects these pills were causing. Some, and I'm surprised, I don't know if this could be for a future issue. I'd like to see how many of these, because some of them say even thoughts of suicide, right? And I'm like, why would you be taking a medication, but then you have the thoughts of suicide? Like, doesn't that exasperate a situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've ever had to take medication for illnesses, and there are these side effects, and it's a trade-off that we all choose to make. And sometimes you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to be one of those people that has that side effect, but maybe you will be. So it's important to ask your doctor.
Yeah, because there's always like multiple different versions of medication. Just being around my parents, I am not a doctor by any means. I'm not saying go stop the pill because it has a side effect of that, because then there's another pill to fix that pill, and it's a cycle. Right. But sometimes if you talk to your doctor, you can say, hey, is there any alternative one that might work better for me? And then they kind of go, okay, let's try this one, and then they go through the test tube over there. But what about this one? Sniffing, rubbing alcohol. I thought this was something we shouldn't do. I mean, as a kid, like, those markers, like we were like, what I'm talking about, those black markers. You're like, but sniffing alcohol is not necessarily a bad thing for a particular thing. I didn't even know this.
Yeah, so I didn't know this either, but you know what's something really, really interesting? You think to yourself, well, if I'm in a crowded bar and people are, doing shots of alcohol or shots of vodka, and they and I'm not drinking, I won't be affected. But actually, alcohol vapor, if you inhale it, so you breathe it in, can actually make you drunk faster and more potently than drinking it, because if you inhale alcohol vapor, it basically goes right into your bloodstream and goes right into your brain. And so, that's why it's dangerous to inhale too much alcohol vapor. But this very small study, so it should be warned that this is not a very large study.
Okay.
But they had nausea. They sniffed a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and found that it helps with their nausea symptom, and that can be really powerful. And obviously, kids at home don't try this at home. But when you're nauseous and you don't feel good, it's like you'd do almost anything to get rid of that feeling.
Yes.
So it's good to find that there's a safe, easy, simple thing that can help.
Okay, and before we let you go, I know we've run out of time, but the 10-minute cancer test, what's that about?
Well, I love this story because you think to yourself, it's not about a drug, it's not about a therapy, it's not warning me of a danger, but it's a new, inexpensive, very quick test that can determine cancer cells with pretty good accuracy. I don't know if you have ever suffered from cancer or know someone who does, but the amount of tests that needs to be done and how long it takes and how expensive it is can be a really big burden on top of all of the other really difficult things that people struggling through cancer face. And so this test that reduces the cost and reduces the time for people to find out whether that they have cancer or not, or whether there are cancer cells in the biopsy, is extremely valuable to people. I mean, imagine not having to wait the weekend after you've had that test to find out the good or the bad news. And I don't know if your listeners will remember, but this is a saga that was very much in the news over the past few years of the company Theranos that would take just a drop or two of blood and do all of the various tests, and it raised hundreds of millions of dollars, but it turned out to be a big fraud. And you wonder, how did all these smart people who are investing all this money, all these scientists, believe in this fraud? And the answer is in part because the idea that you can reduce the cost and the pain of medical testing to a very small degree is just so attractive to people. And you just don't think about that with medicine. You think about the cures, you think about the surgeries, but the testing is a really big part of it. So this is a really important breakthrough for people suffering from cancer.
Well, Jeremy, I really want to say thank you for spending time with us here on the morning show. A lot of people in social media are like, I need to pick up this issue of Reader's Digest. Some have not read a Reader's Digest since the 80s, by the way, just so you know over there. So I want to say thank you for revitalizing this in us. Reader's Digest has been around so long and is one of the most trusted things out there. I understand you have an online site as well.
Yeah, we do. You can check us out at rd.com. But if I could just give one little plug for the magazine, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Reader's Digest, it's still basically pocket sized. It's a little magazine. It's a really great read. We digest content from all over the media landscape to give you a really wide view of stuff going on all over the world. And if you want to feel good by reading stories that make you feel good, if you want to feel smart by learning things that make you feel smart, then Reader's Digest is just a great way to spend a day.
Everybody, Jeremy Greenfield, the senior editor over there at Reader's Digest, thank you so very much for spending time with us here on the morning show.
Have a good one.
And don't forget to pick up your copy of Reader's Digest, sold everywhere. Yes, you can go there. You can even subscribe, get those in the mail. And I like what he said, Jesse. I'm all for sounding smarter, right? So speaking of sounding smarter, we'll be right back right after these messages with some more stories. Some of them not smart. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Some of them smart. That's why we're here, right? Okay, we'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. Okay, so there we go. How cool was that? I remember, all of us, right? It's been around forever. I remember seeing those as a kid and thinking, that's a lot of words, and I don't want to read all that. You remember that, Jesse?
I am one of those weird kids who actually like to read, but
I
honestly didn't know Reader's Digest was still around.
Well, you know what? Yes, it is. Well, look, it's hard in this age. I'll call it.
A lot of competition.
Yeah, I'll call it the digital age, right? I remember when we. It's funny. I'm connected with, and I haven't seen him around for a long time. Big shout out to Ayal Korchak, who over there had done Latin magazine, and I had actually done some collaboration stuff with him early on in the day. Did a couple magazine articles, did some writing. And it was just around the time when everything was starting to move online, and you really had to have an online site in order to keep a magazine going, right? And unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened to Latin magazine, but it was fantastic. It was really well done. And but he and I kind of talked about the way magazines and how much it cost to publish. He had published his, it was subscription based, but he's like, I need the advertisers. In order to get the advertisers, I need to get the views. And so then he went to free. And I remember talking to a magazine publisher, and they said, well, once you give it for free, you can't go back, right? So it was just and I felt so bad for Ayal and the entire team over there, because they really did a lot of work on this magazine. So I can imagine with magazines like Reader's Digest and others, they've had to stay and evolve with the times, right? And they have a really good. I by the way, find them on Facebook, by the way. And go ahead and like them. You'll join their other readers as well. Reader's Digest, again, they're 3 million plus fans over there. And you might get some stuff just from their site. So there you go. Like this one. Let's see. If your partner is asking you to do these 10 things, it's time to leave. What? Whoa.
We got 30 seconds, and we might have to talk about this.
I feel like I don't want to break up any relationships ahead of the holidays. That's a terrible time.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. Let's vote on this. Do you guys want to talk about this? Yes or no? I'm open if you're open, but if you don't want to talk about it.
10 seconds.
Let's see. Bobby says most magazines are still available. Yeah, but they've cut down. Oh man, have they cut down? Skeleton Crews. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Also joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, and Periscope TV. Yes, we want to do a big thank you to Jeremy Greenfield. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been wanting to get them on the show, and I'm glad to finally speak to them over there. Again, Reader's Digest, a lot of great tips from them there, including the memory boosters. I know, who would have thought your doodling actually can help you do that. Also, they have another one, which we didn't even talk about, Live Long and Prosper, how to live long and prosper at the same time. But, you know, Jesse and I were looking over here at the Facebook feed, because you can like them. Yeah, like them on at Reader's Digest or on Twitter. And you might just get smart just by being a fan of their page as well. Like this one. If your partner is asking you to do these 10 things, it's time to leave. What? What? Whoa. I can see people going, wait a minute. Do I want to read that? Do I not want to read that? So you know what? I'll leave it up to you, our social media viewer out there. And those of you listening on the radio, all you have to do is, if you're not driving, go get your passenger, maybe you're carpooling, get them to bring it up on Facebook. It's very simple. KMET 1490 AM. Maybe you're watching on television. You can also watch on our Facebook page on television, KVVB TV 33. That's where it's at. And vote for if you want this article, or if we're gonna I'm gonna come back to that, because I feel like somebody in the room is gonna be like, I have all 10 of those. Is it time for me to leave? So I'm gonna leave that one. I'll leave it up. You know what? I'll repost it. How about that? You know what? Maybe, yeah. Because I feel like I don't want to be that person. You know, like there's some shows where they bring people together, and then there's some shows where they like tear them apart. I don't want to be the one to tear one apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Yeah, so I'm going to just post this on our social media feed. You know what? I'm going to post this at KMET. This is a perfect reason to go visit KMET 1490 AM. Okay, so I'm going to post this right now. So go follow us on all of our social media platforms right there, and you will see if that is possibly you. Or maybe you're the opposite one, and you're like, oh, man, I better change my ways because I don't want my lady or my guy to see this, because I've been doing this. So, you know, maybe it's a good reason to like shape up or ship out, right? So there you go. At least that's how I'm going to view it right now. Okay, so let's switch gears just a little bit. But again, we want to say thank you to Reader's Digest for spending time with us, especially here on a Monday, which, you know, for some of us, it could be a little difficult to get out of bed. Yeah, you know, not for Jesse, but for others of us. But really quick, Jesse, I have to go back to my my of the day spa, right? Because in the day of the day spa, we joined two other really cool places. One of them is a breakfast place, and it is called, and I can never remember it when I need to. It's called not Home Depot. What's it called? Home for Breakfast. If Brenda's not in my ear, so I can't. Home Restaurant. It's called Home Restaurant LA. And if you bring it up, homerestaurantla.com, this is one of those very like pocket-sized places where you will see, like, it's Diner's Choice 2019. This is a great place to go on a brunch or just to take like your girl, Jesse. I think this is kind of cool. It would be like your speed, but you have to go with enough time because it's always so booked, and you have to. If you go in the evening, you could book online. This is a thing now. You could book online via Yelp, right? And you could be like, okay, I want to not wait in line forever, and I'm going to go and check it out. But they have a lot of like Instagrammable views of this place. It's really, I don't know how to explain it other than kind of like a shabby chic in the inside, and then on the outside, just like, I don't know, like you stepped into, I don't know if it's like a New Orleans feel. You got trees all around. It's out in the open. They got a pond right in the middle. It's just so relaxing, right? So that's how we started. And then we went to like, you know what? We're in the relaxing mood. Let's go get our Korean day spa on. But here's the thing I'm leading up to, which you're thinking, oh, wow, he was so excited about that. No. Here's what I'm really excited about. Brendan now knows what Pokemon Go is, Jesse.
Yes.
I know. I know. And so I was like, wait, okay. Oh man, we gotta take another break. Okay, I know. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna share this with you guys for those of you that, because Pokemon Go. I'm just saying, for those of you that like visited it and then you deleted it because they remember when they like got rid of like Radius, like there was one in the vicinity and they disabled it for some time. I disabled it at that point, but they have it back. So I'm just saying, Pokemon Go is where it's at. So we'll talk about that next here on the morning show. Stay tuned right there. Do you Pokemon Go? We can be friends on the app. They never had that before. Yeah, so Brenda's sister plays this. She turned us on to it. So anyway, we'll talk about that and more right after these messages. Stay tuned. Yes, I'm talking about it. Pokemon Go, because finally, you know what, Jesse? This is how you know when you meet your soulmate, you know? You're like, okay, because I used to play all by my lonesome. I mean, I would get my mom on this. I got my cousin on this, and you know, it was fun for that. But I would see couples roam the streets, right? I would see them in parks. Remember when that was a thing? When people were like actually going out in public just to catch Pokemon?
Yes, I remember that.
I feel like we need to revitalize. Did you ever delete your Pokemon Go?
I'll be honest, I never actually played it. I watched other people play it. I like the concept of it, but I'll be honest, I'm not a big phone user, like games and stuff on my phone. The only thing I use my phone for is to call and to text. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll pick it up for a little bit and then add me as a friend so I can get some bonus. But
I'll have my brother, he plays heavily Pokemon Go, so I'll have him add you.
Yeah, it's, you know what, look, for all of those bad stories that used to can't come out, that was just because it was so popular, and because there were people that just, you know, they got crazy with it, I'm not gonna lie, and it's still fun. So I was like, you know, so I searched my account because I was like level 17, and I'm like, I can't start from 0 again. Brenda's starting from like, she's now at level 7. And she was like, oh, slow down. We've got like a waypoint right here. And I'm like, okay. And then for those of you that played it, you know how addicting it can be. So there you go.
It's fun.
She says that she's doing it for her little 7-year-old, but I don't know. At some point, the little 7-year-old's going to be like, wow, I'm at level 33. She's like, you're welcome. No, it's great though. They added like, okay, so when I was playing it, they only had like 150 Pokemon. Now they have like, I don't know, 200, 300 now. And it's
there's more.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about in Go?
In Go, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you could trade digitally, which is not what we had early on. I feel like back in our day, Pokemon Go wasn't as fancy, you know, and it has all these like additional things you can do. Still big in Canada, by the way. They have like Pokemon Go like meetups and such, but we need to revitalize Pokemon Go. They have a Harry Potter Go version as well, by the way.
I heard about that.
Now, if they had like, oh, I don't know, Game of Thrones Go, would you do it?
I don't know. I don't know how that would play out, but if anything, I would want to be a bad guy because y'all know what happens to the good guys in that show.
Yes, we do.
5 seconds.
Thank you. All right. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio. KMET 1490 AM, KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, and Periscope TV. We want to say a big thank you to those of you tuning in live. We got Daniel, Balder, Recepamuk, J Moon, Orange, 4000, Woody 900, Turk 123 over there at Periscope TV via the Twitter app. Also in Facebook land. Let's see. We've got Yosway over there. We've got Mom, which Mom has, by the way, if you missed our last segment, we talked about Pokemon Go, and Brenda picked it up, and I thought, oh, she's not going to really get into it. By the end of the night, and thank God her sister did this with her. She's like, she showed her, and she, you know, walked her through, like, how to get Pokemon, how you have to walk to areas. And I forgot the reason I actually liked Pokemon Go really was if you have the whole family participating, it's actually a fun event. And then you go out and you actually want to walk the streets, right? Like walk, if it's a public safe neighborhood, that is, like in the parks and such. So it's really a good family fun filled thing to do. It's good for the young kids. It's unlike so many of these violent games, right, that are happening. I know what you're thinking. You challenge Pokemon against each other and they fight, but you know what? Too bad, so sad. So there you go. Brenda, by the way, in social media is saying to Jesse, play, and you have to add her as her username.
But I do have to give a warning about Pokemon Go.
Oh,
watch where you're collecting those little.
This is true.
Pokestops.
Yeah.
Because my brother was not paying attention, and he accidentally walked into a military base because he was not paying attention.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I wait. What was it? A rare Pokemon he was gonna find, like Mewtwo or something?
I don't know, but he's done it a couple times where he was parked and he was doing like a Pokemon gym, and the cop pulled him over and asked him what he was doing. I'm just playing Pokemon, and the cop was like, "Oh my god."
I'm sorry. Now that's morning show material. Shout out to your brother, by the way. So Pokemon Go, it's true. You got to catch them all unless they're in a military base or such, like Area 51, which I could see if you haven't seen the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu. You can tell we spend a lot of time with the 7-year-old, right? Rightly so. So, you got to know these things. You got to be up to it. They also have a Harry Potter. For those of you going, I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I am a Harry Potter fan. They have the same thing, but for Harry Potter fans over there. So I'm not sure if it's more fun or the same or equal, but there you go. Okay. Switching gears up, because it's not all about Pokemon. I know. Some of us wish it were. There is this, and I thought this was an interesting story, being that, today is Veterans Day, right? So this happened. A 95-year-old World War II veteran got his high school diploma. 95 years old. Wow. Isn't that for a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I don't care about school. I don't need my high school diploma. And he obviously went back and got it at 95 years. I just, I'm amazed at this because, there's a lot of people that just kind of throw their hands up and, throw caution to the wind, and they say, nah, I don't think so. But not him. No. The story goes on to say, at 95 years old, veteran Corporal Louis Shaw earned his high school diploma. The former Marine dropped out of high school more than 70 years ago during World War II and received his diploma last Thursday during a Veterans Day ceremony at Claremore High School in Oklahoma. Now, he wore a red cap and gown over his military uniform to receive his diploma. Corporal Shaw told local Oklahoma news outlet, "It's a thrill." Now, Shaw was a 17-year-old orphan when he dropped out of high school to begin working as a bus driver and a janitor, and before he enlisted into the Marines in 1943. He served during World War II, fought in Iwo Jima, was wounded during the war, said, quote, "A phosphorus grenade got me across the backside, and I didn't want to tell anybody. A good Marine doesn't get shot in the back." Yikes. After the war, he says his life was rather quiet. 30 years he worked for a lumber company before eventually going into construction with his son. He said, quote, "I've lived a dull life, worked hard, had a wonderful marriage of 65 years. His graduation took place in front of students in the high school gymnasium. His great-granddaughter, Sarah Bruce, was one of the students in the crowd. The commanding officer, Katrina Sherrick, spoke at the graduation saying, quote, "Mr. Shaw, all of Claremore High School is here today to participate in your Claremore High School graduation. Today, we add to that great uniform you so proudly wear by presenting you the graduation cap and gown you sacrificed 76 years ago to answer the call of duty to defense of our nation." Superintendent of Claremore Public Schools said, quote, "This is a great opportunity for us and our students to experience the greatest generation of all time, and they are leaving us pretty quickly. I think it's important that our students understand that freedom doesn't come free and the sacrifices that made are real." Shaw says he was able to get by without a high school diploma, as many can, but it's not the advice he would give to those younger than himself. He said, quote, "My advice to them is to keep Klein, continue digging, get that education. He received his diploma via a law passed in 2001, which allows districts to award veterans, I did not know this existed, veterans of World War II and the Korean War their diplomas. Shah, who has lived in the Claremore area his entire life, is said to be the Grand Marshal at Claremore's Veterans Day Parade on, well, today. So there you go. I mean, look, you know what? It's never too late to get, like, go back in time, right? Although I would have found it kind of interesting if he would have, like, been right there with the kids, like having to take some of the studies again, right? Because he got his high school diploma. This isn't like a GED, right? But so there you go. But what do you think? Good idea? Bad idea?
I like it. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a good idea.
Hey, if a World War II vet or Vietnam vet wants to go back and try and get his high school diploma because something happened with him, I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly. So good job over there. Good job. Now, this one, I'm not sure if this is a good idea because, we have to balance things out from good idea, bad idea. So this happened. They're middle school students. And, since we're talking about high school and such, 3 middle school girls who have now dubbed themselves the Revolutionary Girls Baking Society, which you're like, oh, Baking Society of Girls. Okay. Well, they got their school to provide students particular products in the most epic way possible. Now, I'm kind of cautious to show this because I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea just to show this, but instead of teasing it, let me just show you what you're looking at right there on the screen. Yes, for you radio audience, you're probably like, oh, cookies. Yeah, tampon-shaped cookies. You're welcome.
Oh, my
God. Kids these days with their TikTok and their activism. The story broke on Twitter when the president of the nonprofit Narrow Pro-Choice America, Elise Hogue, shared a photo of the cookies with the caption explaining the purpose behind them. Said, quote, my friend's 7th grader goes to a school where the kids organize for free tampons in the bathroom. The male principal said no because they would abuse the privilege. The kids decided to stage a cookie protest. Which, you know what? Okay, I'll give them that. There's other ways to protest. I know people are like, can you please take that off the screen?
I can't unsee that now.
No, you can't. And but you know what? It makes an impression, right? That's smart.
Does.
I mean, they didn't do they didn't stage a walkout, right? I mean, and guess what? Yeah, they actually now have free tampons. The treats look to be some sort of sugar cookie sandwiched together with red frosting, dipped in white frosting, and baked with a string coming out. You can picture the rest for those of you in Radio Land. With over 50,000 likes and almost 10,000 retweets. Again, Twitter is not dead, people. It's safe to say people were in support of the girls and their creativity. They received so much support online that the 3 girls created a website to explain more about their movement. Yeah, you can find them at revolutionarygirlsbakingsociety.org. At the time of publication, the only page on their website features a photo of them and a short statement where they explain what has happened since their tampon cookies went viral. The photo on the site pictures 3 girls, their backs facing the camera, holding up a rolling pin, knife, and whisk. They're wearing all denim, bandanas in their hair, which could quite possibly be a nod to Rosie the Riveter. So these girls are officially cooler than most will ever be. So there you go. Well, okay, going on with what they said, because, they wrote this. We have decided to remain anonymous. Because you don't want to be that person, right? I'm the one that created the cookie tampon. Basically, really, we are every girl in every town across the U.S. and the world who is finding her way in a society that doesn't want to hear us talk about our bodies and something that is perfectly healthy and perfectly normal. I will give them that. It is completely normal and completely healthy. But if I don't know, if they were like, hey, you want some of these cookies? I would have to say no, thank you, right? Because I don't want that picture out there of me looking like I've put, eating a cookie tampon. You know what? Enough about that. Let's move on. We'll be back right after these messages. More right here of the morning show. I told you we got good ideas, bad ideas here. But maybe that was a bad idea gone good idea. I don't know. Kids everywhere are going to cook just to get free stuff. All right. We'll tell you, we'll be back. I promise. We'll be back right after these messages. All right, we're on our commercial break there, but you know, hey, it's a thing, right? You know, look. I mean, poor ladies that have to. But although, have you ever gone shopping for? Oh, we talked about this, right? Yeah, you didn't know what always was, or yeah. Well, imagine having to go for your mother, right, and getting those, right?
Yeah, no comment.
Oh, you did. You have.
No, I've never have.
Oh, see, your mom spared you that embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some are like, it's natural. I get it. Bobby Stamps. Man pads should be free too. Boy pads too. What? Man pads? I don't understand that.
Do we have man pawns?
What?
Pawns. Have you never heard of that?
No.
They're tampons for men.
Why?
It's a joke.
I'm thinking like, well, I mean, you know, if you have a wound and you're bleeding, it's no fun for ladies. I mean, you know, my lady and just ladies everywhere. It like as men, it's true. We need to be much more like accommodating. Because imagine just blood spewing out of you. How uncomfortable is that? Especially the cramps, the stomach cramps. It is no fun. Like you're like, oh, glad I'm a man. You right? You know, and then women are like, yeah, well, whatever. And then the back and forth. You know what? The least they could do is provide free. It's not like I like how they said, "Oh, they're gonna take advantage of it." What? Take advantage of what? Like it's if you're gonna get it. Well, it's not like you like. Well, unless you make more cookies out of these free tampons, I can see you taking advantage of it. But
yeah, I have no idea how they would take advantage of it. I mean, I'd be like, I walked into a bathroom in a middle school. And do you know what the boys do? They take like toilet paper, wet it, and throw it at the mirrors and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's in the mind of a young boy. You know, it's
yeah, that's what we do. But
speak for yourself. I never did that. Don't throw me under that bus. All right, let's see.
We got 30 seconds.
We could talk about how to land the best Black Friday deals because that's coming up around the corner. Ooh, look at this! League of Legends crowns a Chinese team as world champions. Midway, are you gonna go see that? That's appropriate for today, right? That looks good, by the way.
Seconds. It does look good, really good. 5 seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMT, 1490 AM, KVVB TV, 33 Facebook Live, Periscope TV, all social media platforms that have video. We are there. And if we're not, let us know what we're not on. And yes, we want to do a big thank you again to Reader's Digest. If you have not picked up this, then you need to pick it up right now. It is Reader's Digest, 50 nicest places. I actually want to see this just to see which places I need to like stop, because I got to go to Arizona soon in December, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think I want to like stop off. I don't know if there are any towns that way, or if even Scottsdale, Arizona is on that list. That would be kind of cool, right? So there you go. But you know what? Since we were talking about the last story, many of you are thinking, yeah, it wasn't the greatest story to share. Well, let me share a story that will help some of you out there, at least half of us out there, and the other half to be more understanding, right? No one likes getting the flu, though this is called period flu. Since we're in the subject, let's talk about it. Doesn't sound fun either. Well, is it a thing? What do you think, Jesse? Is it a thing? Is it something that was just made up by somebody to say, oh, I feel terrible, and it's, you know, what do you think?
I'm going to say it's true, mainly because I believe the man flu is a real thing.
Well, except for the blood, right? And the cramps.
Blood and cramp.
Yeah. It could explain why you feel sick before you get your period. It's likely that many of us have had period flu before, but without knowing this formal definition of it. When they say many of us, the ladies, this was by a lady for ladies. Of course, the menstrual cramps, the mood swings, the headaches around the time of the periods, but period flu is even worse. But it's not the flu. Some of the symptoms are very flu-like. Symptoms include weakness, chills, being more tired than usual, muscle aches, nausea, and or vomiting. Now, it may look like the influenza people pass around, but this is not the same. According to You by Kotex, the flu symptoms you get before your period have to do with your body and the prostaglandins, also known as the group of lipids that are released before your period starts. There's also known as the time before your uterine lining dislodges from the wall of your uterus, which results in your period. Is there a cure for it? Well, if you're concerned about it, you should go see your doctor or your OBGYN to see what they say. Unlike the regular flu, there is no flu shot for period flu. Instead, some doctors may suggest taking ibuprofen, while others may suggest hormonal birth control. Others say just wait it out. Whatever you feel, know that it's true. It's not just you, and this is a thing. Because you know what? Knowing is half the battle. And I will say, although, okay, I'm not going to say names. Don't say names because you never know. They're going to like backhand you. Got it. Okay. I may or may not know some people that go through this. And I'm like, oh, I can spot it a mile away. I'm like, you're about to get yours. Like, sometimes I don't tell them that. Okay, I do actually. Okay, look, you got to know when your significant other is doing like this because you need to know when to stay out of the landmines, right? I mean, look. And this isn't just to ladies. Jesse, have you ever felt really terrible? You have nausea and, people are talking loud at you and you're like, can you just go away? You ever have that, right? We all get that, right?
I get that all the time.
Yeah. Now imagine bleeding outside, and then I'm trying to, women know what this is like, but men, we don't understand. And I hope I never do, by the way, on a physical level, but just, and it's uncomfortable and it's just sitting there. And so men, have some compassion, right? And men that have been married a long time have a lot of compassion. Those of you that are single and are just not quite with it just yet, get with it. Because it'll save you. You can't be just be calm. No, you try going through all those physical symptoms and try to be calm. So there you go. But so ladies out there, we have compassion for you here on the morning show. And if there's nobody that shares compassion, just say, yeah, what they said, right? So there you go. Speaking of which, something that makes everybody feel good. And this is a good one as well. Maybe your lady's feeling out of not feeling so good. Well, there's a new research, which I'm not sure why they had to do this research to prove this, because we all kind of know this. The American Society for Horticulture Science, that's the science of plants, right, performed a study evaluating if plants have therapeutic influences on surgical patients, and the results are honestly kind of shocking. 90 patients were split into rooms either with plants or without plants. And those with some kind of foliage had wildly different results than those who had not. According to the study, those exposed to flowers had lower blood pressure and heart rate, lower ratings of pain, anxiety, fatigue, and more positive feelings and higher satisfaction about the rooms than the patients without foliage. The findings from this research suggest that flowers should be complementary medicine for recovering patients. Bouquets of flowers can also make us feel less stressed out. That's according to a study published in Complementary Therapies in Medicine. The study gave college-aged women a fresh vase of, or vase, potato, of roses for their dorm rooms, and the results included the subjects feeling more relaxed and stress-free than before. I don't know about you, but what do you think about that, Jesse?
I want to be stress-free.
Wait, so no, I meant buying them for your lady.
Yeah. Anything to make her, if I can make her happy during that little thing, yeah, definitely. Anything for her.
Or anytime, right? Anytime. Oh, here's what, man, this is my tip for you men out there. Never, ever, this goes back centuries, but some men never think of this. Never, ever get flowers because you did something wrong, okay? Because it puts something in the back of the head of the lady oh. So the next time you get flowers, guess what they're going to think? What'd you do wrong? Right? And there's men that do this still. It's a telltale sign. We brought up that article earlier, things that, your partner may be doing, and you're but so here's the deal. Always remember, it's positive reinforcement. Just get flowers because, okay, when you do that. Now, I will say this. I used to do this a lot, actually. Until my lady took me to downtown district where they show like flowers are super inexpensive. Have you been to the downtown district, Jesse?
No, I have not.
They're
Are they
cheap. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Like you just go in there and like, you check them out. You're like, what? Bouquet of flowers for $3? I didn't know this because because think about it. In order for flower marts to sell it, they have to inflate the prices. It's like a thing, right? But if you go down in downtown LA and you actually can like, or the flower district of any major metropolitan area, basically, this is where you get cheap flowers. So it kind of ruined it for me. So now I'm seeing like $20 bouquet of flowers. I'm like, I could save that. So I got to get out of that mindset is my point. I got to basically unsee what I saw because it's an investment, right? Making your woman, lady,
Happy.
yeah, making her happy, and or maybe a patient that's in the hospital, right? Get them some flowers as well, and don't be a cheapskate is what I'm basically telling my younger self. Well, I'm telling my equal self right now because I'm like, I got out of that habit, and I got to get back into that habit because hopefully she's not listening to this. She'll be like, yeah, and then she's gonna prove it later, like, no, you didn't live up to that habit. Oh man, I need a banner from the show. Let's see, Casey. Hint, by the way, Jesse. Casey, who is Jesse's lady friend over there, says flowers are always a mood booster. Except maybe for people with allergies. That's good. That one's you gotta check out that, by the way. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Manny says, "My gosh, this segment." Well, it's a thing. But she put the laughing emojis for those of you listening, so it's in the perspective of that. Okay, people, we gotta let you go. It's been a long day. We just gonna. Oh man, I gotta go get my teeth dental work. Pray for me. All right. Anyway, I'm not gonna think about it. It'll all be good in the end. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same channel. If I can talk, we'll be here. So download our app, KMET 1490 AM. More programming right after this. Take it away, Jesse. All right, so we'll let go of Jesse over there in our radio audience. So happy to have each and every one of you with us. Yes, Casey in social media says, when in Arizona, if you are near Gila Bend, Arizona, stop at an Italian place called Little Italy and get a pizza. You will not be disappointed. All right, you know what, Casey? Thank you for that tip. We are going to take that as a thing. Let's see. Mandy says, I get that every single month. I didn't know there was a name for it. Whoa. Yeah, you're welcome. I think we're talking about the period flu. So now you know it's a thing, and it's not you. It's that time of the month. So, okay. And look, if you're ashamed by this discussion, you have not lived long enough. And so don't get ashamed. It's a thing. Moving on, though. Let's see. There was this midwife. Yeah, midwife, midway. It looks like the same thing when you glance at it. Midway. War epic Midway. Best Dr. Sleep at the box office. Who saw that coming? Yeah. Lionsgate Sunday estimated Midway earned $17.5 million from 3,242 screens. The studio acquired the film about the Battle of Midway that features a large ensemble cast, including Nick Jonas and Patrick Wilson. I know somebody in our social media audience loves a little Nick Jonas over there. David Spitz, who's Lionsgate's president of domestic distribution, said, as expected, everyone is ecstatic. Midway cost a reported $100 million to produce, and the studio is projecting it will have grossed at least $20 million by the end of Veterans Day today. So there you go. All right, people, we got to let you go. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well, and pick up your latest copy of Reader's Digest. That's where it's at. And get a little smarter over there. All right, bye-bye, everyone.